2 shots left. Change it back. It's a hit, buddy.
What's up, guys? Today I'll be taking a look at the latest version of the Caliburn designed by Captain Slug. The original Caliburn is probably the most well-known blaster in the Nerf hobby, being a high-powered blaster that people could 3D print at home. The new Caliburn 4 builds on this original design and adds some new features. But before I explain what those are, I just want to give a quick shout out to Frontline Foam in the USA. They have a physical store as well as a web store. They're the ones who sent this to me to review. So I'll leave a link down below to the Caliburn 4 from them. Much like the original Caliburn, this is a 3D printed mag-fed pump action manual springer. It has the largest air volume cylinder in the Nerf hobby, surpassing the Worker Swift, SABRE M20, and even the ZWQ S100. It has a whopping 146 cc's of air, and a highly modified Caliburn currently holds the record for the highest velocity Nerf springer, closing in on 500 feet per second with a 1 gram foam dart. But what's new about the Caliburn 4? Well, probably the first thing you've noticed is this outer shroud that covers all of the metal bars and makes it look a little less like a homemade blaster. The outer shroud is completely optional, and if you'd rather it look like a more traditional Caliburn, you don't need to order those parts. When I ordered this one, I simply just ticked every single box on Frontline Foam's website. Beneath this shroud, the Caliburn 4 uses flat bars rather than threaded rods for its structure. This gives the 4 increased durability and rigidity. One of the biggest complaints I had with the original Caliburn is that it was pretty flimsy and you could kind of twist it side to side. You can kind of hear this one creaking as well, but it's nowhere near as bad as the original was, which is pretty terrible for a sniper blaster when you could just twist the shell and now it's not aiming exactly where you had it zeroed. So the flat bars definitely do help on the Caliburn 4 to reduce that movement, but there is still a little bit of movement there. Being 3D printed, the Caliburn 4 is pretty lightweight at only 1.6 kilograms, but having a total length of 83 centimeters from the butt to the front of the barrel, it is a little unwieldy to use, especially around cover and stuff that you'll see in the gameplay later on. Particularly, I found it awkward to rapid fire the blaster, given the total length of it when moving around cover. But perhaps I'm spoiled by AEGs and HPA Nerf blasters these days. Another big feature of the 4 is quick spring swaps. At the rear of the buttstock, there's 2 pins forming a cross shape, and if you remove both of those, you have instant access to the spring, and you can raise or lower your performance within seconds. Frontline Foam offer 4 different configurations you can order the blaster in. There's a 140 feet per second low option, 175 feet per second medium option, a 200 feet per second high option, and what I opted for here is the 250 feet per second super high option. This super high option uses a K31 and a K25 spring slid inside of each other, along with a 14-inch aluminium barrel. And over the chronograph, here's how the super high configuration is actually shooting. Over the chronograph, I got a high of 288, a low of 266, and an average of 277. There are even stronger springs in the K31 K25 combo I'm using, so you could definitely get this to shoot even harder. This blaster being 3D printed though, you would definitely want to upgrade some components to metal before considering going higher. Another issue the original Caliburn had was that the ram base only had 1 screw on each side, and over time they'd loosen and you'd have to open the whole blaster up and retighten those screws. On the new version, it has 2 screws on either side, so that should help cut down on those screws backing themselves out. A pretty cool feature of the 4 is that the magwell can take either full-length mags, half-length Talon mags, or half-length Katana mags standard. To use full-length mags, there's an insert which is held in by a pin. Removing the pin and dropping that out, you can use full-length darts. Not sure why you'd ever want to, but that's cool, I guess. There's also 2 separate mag releases, one for Talon mags and one for Katana mags. I don't think many people still use Katana mags, but the versatility of the magwell is a nice feature. You can also insert or remove mags while the breech is closed. Being a 3D printed blaster, the Caliburn is a little more on the fragile side, but one change that's been made to help improve it is the piston now has a speed brake, making it a little more dry fire safe. Let's make him cringe. Another benefit of the speed brake is it does make the blaster a little quieter to fire overall, allowing you to be a little more stealthy with the blaster. There are some other smaller changes with the Caliburn 4, and Derek at Frontline Foam has a nice video outlining everything that's changed with it, and I'll link that video at the end of this one. But now let's head outside for some target shooting. To improve the accuracy of the blaster, I'd recommend adding some form of rifling. Today I'll be using a SABRE bearing scar barrel, which attaches to the outside of the 16mm outer diameter aluminium barrel. First, let's see how the blaster shoots at a distance of 30 meters. At 30 meters, it shot a grouping 20 centimeters wide and 30 centimeters tall. Definitely plenty enough to hit an enemy player with every single shot. Now let's step it back to 40 meters. At 40 meters, it shot a grouping 40 centimeters wide and 40 centimeters tall. Still plenty enough to hit an enemy player with every single shot. You could easily set this back to 50 meters, but using a 1x red dot on here like I am, it's a bit harder to keep the holdover consistent. If you want to shoot that far, I'd recommend a sight with mil dots or add an adjustable Picatinny rail under your sight. Let's head back inside for a conclusion. The original Caliburn was one of my favourite blasters for a very long time. And when it came out, there weren't really any other options for a high-powered Springer. When blasters like the Worker Swift and the SABRE M20 later arrived, offering similar performance but with better durability, I ended up getting rid of my original Caliburn in favour of those. With all of the improvements that the Caliburn 4 has over the original, particularly in rigidity and durability, I see it as a more viable option now. And the Caliburn still has the record for the highest velocity Springer in the Nerf hobby. However, I think the long length of this blaster makes it difficult to rapid fire and difficult to negotiate close quarters environments. So I think it's a bit of a trade-off for that massive air volume and massive velocity potential, and you'll definitely want to be using this blaster as a sniper and not in CQB. I'll end today's video with some gameplay footage recorded at the Battle for Waterloo skirmish field. You'll get to see what I mean and how awkward it is to use at close range, and in the end I only used it for the first 2 rounds of the day before swapping to something shorter. Enjoy the gameplay.
2 shots left. Change it back. So hit, buddy. Got me too, mate. Yeah. It's caught in there.
That's it for this one, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Consider subscribing by clicking my profile icon on the screen now. Also, here's 2 other videos you might enjoy, including Derek's comparison of the Caliburn versus the Caliburn 4. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.